Back when I started in 1975 at CKCY Radio, which is just across from what's now called GFL Memorial Gardens, it was part-time. The station was non-stop, 7 days a week, 24 hours. Nothing was recorded. You wouldn't even think of recording, say, a sportscast or a show that's for a show, an on-air show. It was exciting. If you worked for CKCY or CJIC, radio, TV, if you worked for any of the broadcast medias in the Sault, everyone knew who you were because it was the media in the Sault, along with the Sault Star. But radio was just so vibrant then, so was TV. Everything was instant. There was no media then, there was no internet then. So if you wanted breaking news, you weren't going to get it from the Sault Star because you had to wait the next day. Breaking news was from radio or TV. Up to the minute reports. If there was a fire downtown, there was a reporter there covering it on the scene, breaking in during a music show and saying, "We have this report from so-and-so who's downtown at the scene of this fire or downtown somewhere." Everything was fast-paced. The newsroom was hectic. Everything was just so fast-paced. It was really, really exciting. When I would go in, like as a sportscaster, it was a bit different because you were out in the field more. I would be out at a game, I'd come in and file a report and say the Greyhounds won a game, even though the games were broadcast on CKCY. I'd come in, say, and when the game was over, before the 11 o'clock news and sports, I'd give a quick synopsis on the radio. High school score, same thing. We would call in the scores from the field, from a payphone, say during the game, and say, after the first quarter of this high school football game, it's Sir James Dunn leading St. Mary's 7-0. I don't say that because I went to Sir James Dunn and didn't like St. Mary's, so I'll give Sir James Dunn the edge here. But it was that kind of thing. It was fast-paced. It was action all the time. The time went by really fast. It was just so much energy and so many people. Like I would call us, I guess, broadcast artists. You wanted to do everything and be really good at it and beat the competition, which in our case was, say, getting a story ahead of CJIC. You always wanted to, we were friends, all friends, but it was wanting to get something ahead of the competition. It was wanting to be first. It was wanting to let the public know what was happening. I just thought as a sportscaster, because I was trained by the sports director, to get those scores into the station as quick as possible. Like I said, if a high school basketball game was over, girls basketball, boys basketball, football, during it, you would call the scores in after a quarter, at halftime. If it was a championship game, you were there. We would do play-by-play of sporting events. It was, as my colleague Joe Petrolo, who I went to Sault College with, we worked alongside at CKCY in the newsroom. He did news, I did sports on weekends, and he still to this day calls it like the golden age of radio, and it really was. So many personalities, and like I said, everyone listened to CKCY or CJIC. That's the way it was. So, I worked with a lot of really talented people over the years, both CKCY and CJIC, and people who were legends in the Sault. Russ Ramsey, who we have a street named after, George Gineski, Barry Wolf, who did Greyhound hockey for years, Russ Hiller, a pioneer in broadcasting, Joe Petrolo, like I said, a friend of mine who we went to journalism school together, Art Osborne, Lou Turco, who's still doing radio to this day. I think the memory of radio that stands out in my mind is, it's like first day of school. So it was the day I was hired. So I went down to the radio station to do an interview, to be interviewed by the sports director, Paul Leonard, who's still alive, living in Elliott Lake. And anyway, I showed up at the radio station reception desk on Queen Street across from the Gardens, and I asked the receptionist, Judy Breskus, and I told her I was there to see Mr. Leonard for an interview for a part-time sports job. And so she said, okay. She said, we'll be with you in a minute. Anyway, the phone rang, and I heard her talking on the phone, and she says to me, I heard her saying, oh yes, he's here. So she gets off the phone and says to me, Mr. Leonard will see you. He's across the street. You know where the El Bomo Hotel is? It was a bar, right? Dive bar. So I said, oh yeah, I know where it is. So I go over there, and Paul Leonard, who I admired, so I looked up to. He didn't know who I was, but I'm sure who he was. He was sitting at a table having a few beers, right? It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He says to me, do you want a beer? Okay. So I have a beer with him, right? I thought I had to go back to the station to do this voice test. That's what I was told. Anyway, we talked for about 2.5 hours, drank like several beers, and he says to me, can you start on Saturday, this Saturday, doing the noon sports? And I said, yeah, for sure. And I said, oh, you mean I have the job? And he goes, oh yeah. And I said, oh, I thought I had to do a voice test. And he said, oh, you have a good voice and you know a lot about sports. And that was it. So he said he would meet me there at the station to train me, and he never showed up. So it was just my on-the-job training was going in there, asking the announcer. I said, I'm here to do sports. Yes, and you're on at 10 after 12. And I had all this wire copy and local copy. And I said, how long do I have? He said, well, just talk till you're done, all reading all that stuff. So it was about 20 minutes, I think I was still talking. So he looked at me through the window and said, wind it up, which was good because my throat was starting to hurt. I was really thirsty for my first time on the air. And I was like nervous and sweating. But that just stands out because it was my first experience with radio. I had a job at the Windsor Hotel, and it was a full-time job, and it was good money, and I didn't want to lose that job. So I got hired at CJIC, which was my dream job in my career. That's what I went to Sault college for, to work in the media. So I didn't want to give up the full-time job because it paid really well. Plus, my mother didn't want me to give up the full-time job because it was good money. And the job initially at CJIC was just Friday nights, then on Saturday and Sunday. So if I was working in the bar at the Windsor Hotel on a Friday night, which I often did, if I had to do a sports cast at CJIC at 11 o'clock, I would leave the Windsor Hotel at about 10:15, and with my shirt and tie on, dress pants, and in the middle of summer, something like this, for example, and run down to Queen Street to the radio station and rip a bunch of wire copy, get some local sports if there was, go on the air at 11:05 and read it, and then run back to the bar and finish my shift there. And I did that. The bartender was covering for me, so I had to buy him a beer to cover for me. Beer then was 55 cents. I got $3 to do the sports cast. So really to run all the way down there and back, I did it for $2.45. But I loved every second of it. It was cool.